Emperor of the North fits in the category of being one of the best films you've probably never seen. I saw it on late-night television something like 35 years ago, and I never forgot it. A few years ago I discovered it by chance on DVD. From what I've managed to glean on the internet, it appears it was released under the title Emperor of the North Pole for something like 10 days before disappearing into obscurity, only to be re-released a few years later with its present truncated title before disappearing once again into oblivion. Yet, among those who have managed to see it, it carries a great reputation and is frequently cited as being some of Lee Marvin and Ernest Borgnine's best work. The outline of the story is quite simple. It is a story of hobos in the late 1920s or early 1930s, trying to hitch rides across America in an effort to find work. These hobos became a marginalised breed apart, developing their own rules, customs and language, while in the process being considered inferior by those fortunate enough to still have employment during the Great Depression. More particularly, it is a story of A Number 1, a celebrated hobo considered by many to be the Emperor of the North Pole, a title signifying mastery of the craft of the hobo, who throws down the gauntlet of challenge to Shack, the railroad man who is willing to go to any lengths to ensure a hobo does not get a free ride on his train. A Number 1 is joined in his quest by Cigarette, a cocky young hobo with ideas well above his station and an ego to match. So we have what purports to be an action film involving sympathetic characters opposing quite unsympathetic characters using cunning and humour. It is also, however, a depiction of the time, human spirit, defiance and courage. It also works as an allegorical tale of man's willingness or unwillingness to lend a fellow human being a helping hand, social position and the purpose of our journey through life as the train offers a means of finding work, success and hope. The practical purpose of the journey is forgotten by all those concerned, in favour of defending personal principle. These men will not change. They cannot persuade one another of the justice of their cause, and so they are forced into personal conflict. Although A Number 1 succeeds in the end, it is something of a hollow victory, as nothing has really changed in real or global terms, but it remains nonetheless a personal victory, and one is forced to consider the possibility that in the end, this is all A Number 1 could really hope for, as the defeated Shack calls out that he, A Number 1, hasn't heard the last of him, or someone like him perhaps. The journey and the conflict go on, though this may be lightened by sweet and memorable moments of personal success. Cigarette is abandoned, rejected by A Number 1 who did his best to mentor him, but Cigarette didn't have the heart to really profit from his teaching. He remained profoundly self-centred. The characters are seen only in terms of this conflict and the challenge that draws them together. We see Shack only at work and we see A Number 1 and Cigarette as hobos. Granted, we see the latter two in more social contexts than Shack, but even these contexts are integral to their lives as hobos. Our view of this conflict is undiluted by seeing Shack in a family context or seeing A Number 1 and Cigarette actually seeking employment, which might have lent them dignity and Shack humanity. It is clear, however, where our sympathies should lie, as A Number 1 is revealed to be intelligent, thoughtful, caring, loyal and principled, while Shack appears to take pride in his position and in showing no consideration for others. He sticks to the letter of the law and makes no attempt to see the bigger picture and offer help to his fellow man. Instead, he sees things in the narrowest of terms. He's been set the task of ensuring no one rides free on the train, and any attempt to violate this is seen as a personal challenge. He embodies the adoption of a protective position in society, defending his train and possibly society from abuse, but showing no trace of tolerance, sympathy or consideration for his fellow man. The film is fundamentally the story of this conflict between the two men and their opposing viewpoints, taken to dramatic excess combined with touching and amusing reflections on human nature, society and life. There are a couple of amusing interludes during which the police are shown to have no authority unless everyone is willing to accept that authority, and a baptism sequence which gently pokes fun at the inadequacies of religion in the face of the grim reality of the need to survive and find work. By and large, the rest of the film focuses on the war of wit and wile between Shack and A Number 1. My thanks for taking the time to watch this video. I hope you found it of some value.